So today we're talking about the Rhodes Audio Design Core 101, which is a full SSL style center section. Got my buddy Keith, and we're going to walk you through this real fast so you guys know what you may be getting into here. So this is the main unit, and this is its power supply, and those are really the only things that you need to get up and running. Besides that, you will need to acquire some DB25 cables. We have DB25 to XLR here. They're not included with the sale, but as far as the main sale, you get the main unit and the power supply, as well as the cable that connects the two of them. So the Core 101 is a full SSL style center section in the fact that, you know, it does have the full circuitry of the actual fader and the bus compressor laid out in a way that is very, very reminiscent of how SSL did it. The center section circuitry, you know, from my ears and from actually tracking down and talking to the designer of this thing, is more like a 9,000 than I would say that it is a 4,000, but the bus compressor is definitely in the 4,000 flavor. There's a monitor controller as well as a, you know, source select and talkback feature. There's 3 sets of really nice meters. You've got the meter for your compressor. You've got some LED meters, which, to be honest, when you're hitting this thing, they're just more for fun lights because you're hitting it pretty hard. But if you turn your program down, you can see what's going on. We're going into input 1 and we're going out output 1. So that is the main mix path, which we have selected right here. And we have the monitor selected on main, but to be honest, that could be on cut for what we're doing right now because all we're listening to is the actual input and output through the mix path of the desk. So in the circuitry at that point, you have your fader and as well as your insert if you wanted to put an insert in line, and then your compressor. So go ahead and press play, Keith. You can see here that, our fader feeds the 2 bus. And then if we go on and turn our bus compressor, you can see that our bus compressor is also in the chain. So stop that for me, Keith. So that is the main function of using this thing in what I would consider like an outboard piece of gear mode. You can use whatever monitor controller or monitoring functions you already have set up, and you can use the SSL bus compressor as well as the actual 2 bus. I will say, if you're looking for an SSL bus compressor that sounds like the console, this is the closest I have ever found, and I actually looked all over the world to try and track this down because a standard SSL bus compressor or DIY bus compressor to my ears does not sound like the one that comes in my console. This thing right here is just like the desk, but it's a little bit cleaner. The compressor is very, very reminiscent of my compressor, but the center section is just a little bit cleaner. Using these 2 things together, though, sounds just like patching from the pre-VCA ins to the post-VCA outs of my desk, and I love it. So if you want to use this as a bus compressor, if that's your main focus of it, then that's how you do it. Outputs 1 and 2 are the center section stereo bus. Outputs 3 and 4 are the main monitors. Outputs 5 and 6 are the minis. So now if Keith, hits play for me, we're getting some stuff through our headphones down here because we were playing with those, which is getting fed by a headphone amplifier down on these knobs. But this knob will now... Oh, I have the monitors cut. But this will now bring up our signal because that's the main output. And it's just a very great monitor amplifier. This thing absolutely rules. So now we're on 5 and 6, which are the minis. And then our dim level. Like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and If you're looking for a monitor controller, this thing absolutely slays as a monitor controller, and it looks amazing in your studio, and it also has an SSL bus compressor. So that being said, if your main focus is trying to buy a monitor controller, that is exactly how you would do it. You could have your mix, which goes through the SSL circuitry, or if you wanted it to be even cleaner, you could plug your mix into external 1 and 2, which shows up on inputs 3 and 4 on the DB25 and go straight through the monitor controller without actually going through the SSL center section as well as the compressor. External 2 shows up on the back of the desk right here, and it is a standard 1/8-inch stereo jack like you would find on a cell phone. This controls what operating level you want your external 1 and 2 to be at, whether they're at pro level +4 or consumer level -10. Talkback function dims the monitor controller, so go ahead and play the song again. So we're using the minis. And if I hit talkback, you can see that it dims it based on what our dim control is set to. And you have 2 headphone feeds. And you can use the talkback to talk into those, and you can hear that it also dims the headphones. So if you're looking for a headphone amplifier, it also is a wonderful headphone amplifier. With talkback, it's a wonderful monitor controller. It is a wonderful and goddamn the closest SSL sounding bus compressor to the actual console that I found. Just a little bit cleaner. So if you're into a little bit cleaner than an SSL 4000 and a little bit dirtier than an SSL 9000, let me introduce you to my friend. And that is really the Rhodes Core Audio 101. There are a few cosmetic things about the desk. Nothing too crazy to point out, but I will go ahead and just point them out in this video. It really looks beautiful in person, and I'll step back just so you can see it. Man, I love the thing. I don't know exactly how I would continue to use it in my workflow with what we're moving towards, but I do think it is really cool and special.